Hey guys, I'm Rotary Swing instructor Chris Tyler, and this week I'm going to be focusing in on two key moves in Brooks Koepka's golf swing that allow him to maintain consistent power and consistent ball striking. I'm also going to be discussing a drill that's going to help you overcome loss of spine angle in the hitting area. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so those of you that are joining us on our YouTube channel, I'm going to go ahead and include a special bonus clip at the end of this analysis on talking about the tush line and how you can use this in order to maintain spine angle or proper spine angle in the hitting area. And remember, if you like this video, go ahead and click the like button below, and if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to post those up. Now let's get out there and play some great golf, and let's check out this analysis. Okay, so the 24-year-old Florida State graduate Brooks Koepka gets his first victory on the European Tour with a late charge on Sunday and fights off Ian Poulter, so congratulations to Brooks on his first European Tour victory. This week I'm going to be focusing in on two really key areas of his golf swing that he does so well in order to be able to maintain a lot of consistent power and a lot of consistency with his ball striking. And you're going to be able to understand when you start to look at your own golf swing on camera how these areas can affect your game in a number of ways and how it can probably lead to a lot of the problems that you're seeing on the golf course. I'm also going to go through a drill towards the end of the analysis that you can try out at home that's going to help you overcome the hips coming forward and that early extension of the spine. I know that's one of the more common areas that we see from golfers, is that we see the hips coming forward, we see a lot of right side dominance, and in turn that creates this mess of spine angle problems where we really want to think of the spine as being kind of the axis, and we want to rotate around it and keeping it as neutral and no change to it as possible. So that's the idea. In order to play consistent golf, is that we want to be able to rotate around our axis, not have much change in shape of the spine, and we also want to keep our head very quiet. So let's go ahead and take a look here. I'm going to mark a few lines on the screen for us. I'm going to mark down the spine here. I'm also going to mark a line down off the back of the tush. This is a line you'll see us use quite often here at Rotary Swing, is that we draw a line straight down from the back of the tush, because if the hips were to come forward, you would notice that the spine angle changes quite a bit, especially in the downward move. All right, I'm also going to mark the trail shoulder here, the position of the trail shoulder. And then from a face-on perspective, what I'm going to mark is where the head position is at address. And I'm also going to mark a line from the trail shoulder down into where that head position was. So from a down-the-line perspective, let's take a good close look at what he does so well here. Gets good load up to the right side. All right, loaded up into that trail side very well. He's got the hips still staying back, and he's still been able to maintain his spine angle beautifully. Okay, so you see how the spine angle is virtually dead exactly the same as it was at address. And then in the downward move, you're going to see a very common move here, a little sit to the left side, to that lead side, gets over there, and then he's still keeping those hips back down into the hitting area. So notice how these hips have not come drastically forward. He's been able to maintain that original spine angle. He's actually maybe even increased his angle. But another big note here is take notice of where his right shoulder is. It's virtually exactly where it was at the address position. We don't see it moving forward. We don't see it out breaking through this line. And that's one of those areas for amateur golfers. When you get to the top part of your golf swing, you start to push really hard from the right arm and the right shoulder. So if you've noticed yourself on camera with that right shoulder moving through that line, or your hips coming forward, chances are you're going to be a really steep swinger of the golf club, and you're going to be more over the top. So if you've been one of those people that have fought over the top, really kind of pay attention to what your right shoulder is doing in the downward move. Try to keep it a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more passive, and let the left side of the body really kind of control things that are going on. And we're talking from a right-handed perspective this week. So again, if you look at the face-on view, and for those golfers that have really kind of struggled with a lot of lateral head movement, either in the takeaway, the backswing, or the downward move, Brooks does something extremely well in his golf swing that you really want to pay close attention to here. So you're going to see from a face-on perspective, we get loaded up to the top. You can see the head moved maybe an inch, inch and a half or so. Not a big deal. We want to allow the head to move just a little bit. So if you've noticed your golf swing, when you watch it on camera, that you see a lot of this maybe 4, 5, 6 inches of lateral head movement, what that can be attributed to is this lead arm or this lead shoulder pushing across your center. All right, when you start to push your lead shoulder across your center, what that's doing, number one, is it's not allowing you to rotate your shoulders perpendicular to your axis, which is the spine. And when that happens, then your chances are that your spine is starting to change shape. It's starting to either straighten up, and it's also creating a lot of lateral head movement. So now you can kind of grasp a hold of the idea of how important it is to be able to rotate the shoulders perpendicular to your axis. That'll teach you, number one, how to keep the head more quiet, and it'll also teach you how to build up power in your midsection. If you've been one of those people that gets a lot of this lateral head movement, you won't be able to feel those abs and those obliques really starting to contract. So really focus on, you get yourself a mirror or a camera, focus on it from a down the line perspective, and take a good close look at it and see, okay, I'm going to load up to the right, I want to rotate my shoulders around my axis, and make sure that you're maintaining that spine angle as it was at address position. All right, so from a downward move here, from a face-on perspective, he does something extremely well on his golf swing. So we're going to get him down into the hitting area here. You're going to see the head move forward just a slight amount, and then as he's starting to get the hands down in front of that trail thigh, you're going to see that the head goes back in behind the original starting point here. So what he's done, because he's got a driver in his hands, he's got the ball position a little bit more forward. You can see that he's increased his axis tilt. He hasn't lost his spine angle, again, so let me show you from a down the line perspective. So down into the hitting area, okay, you can see that the spine angle has been able to maintain the same, but his axis tilt has increased, which in turn has got the spine now facing a little bit more outside of his lead knee, and has got his head back in behind the golf ball. Also take notice of where the right shoulder is. Okay, you can see that the right shoulder is virtually where it was at the address position, and this is where he's going to be starting his release. He's going to be starting to unravel that angle in the right arm and that right hand, and he's going to start to extend through the hitting area. But pay very close attention to these next few frames as I start to work through here. You're going to see that he maintains his head position behind the golf ball very long. So the hands are about pocket height. All right, now we're going to work a little bit further. Now they're at about chest height here. And the head is still behind the golf ball. Hands are now getting up around the shoulder height. And now as he's starting to get up into his finish position, that's when the head starts to come forward. All right, so you can see that what he's done, and the reason why we actually only have one follow-through video on the website is because what a follow-through really is, and if you have yourself well enough trained to get speed at the right spot, and that's in the hitting area, a follow-through is really just the safest way to decelerate the golf club. We want the hands and arms to, when they're decelerating the golf club, to be able to pull us up onto our right toe. So if you've noticed that you get your head moving out in front of the original position too early, then double check to make sure that your trail shoulder has not moved across your center or pushed across your center just as it would in the takeaway or the backswing. If you push it across your center, then you can run the risk of having a lot of lateral head movement, you can lose spine angle, and then in turn, you're going to just run into problems with maintaining consistency and ball striking, and that can be a big issue. So, all right, so the big things that you want to work on in your golf swing are you want to make sure that you keep the head more quiet. All right, you really want to try to keep the head in behind the golf ball, especially into impact. And then post-impact, still allow the head to stay very, very quiet. Allow the hands and arms to feel like they're reaching and extending out in front of you. And then allow, once things get, past the 9 o'clock region or past the hip region, allow the hands and arms to pull you up onto your finish position, up onto that right toe. And that'll help you keep those hips back. It'll help you maintain spine angle, and will certainly help you not get that right side pushing across your center and steepening up the golf club. So a good drill, as I told you guys I would talk about for you guys to try at home, this is one that I have a lot of my students, it's actually a drill that I do myself, is if you stick your tush up against a wall and grab yourself like a 7 or an 8 iron, and what you want to do is just have your tush lightly touching the wall, and then go ahead and just make some good 9 to 3 golf swings. And what you want to do is go ahead and shift your hips to the right, make sure you feel your weight load into that right side, that right leg for stability. And go ahead and swing the arms back to the 9 o'clock region. All right, so pause, hold that in a static position, and then shift over to the left side and feel the weight over into that left heel, left ankle area. And then once you feel that happen, then go ahead and swing the arms and release all the way through to the 3 o'clock position. But as you're doing this, try to keep your right tush back, lightly touching the wall all the way through the hitting area. That's going to give you the correct sensation of how to keep the hips back, and it's also going to train you how to maintain spine angle. Now, this is not a drill that I want you guys to overdo, but I want you to be able to feel the differences. So if you've ever seen your hips coming forward and you've lost the tush line quite a bit, then try this drill out and then slowly start to work yourself away from the wall, and then work on making sure that you know how to load and unload properly without getting yourself to be pushed and getting those hips to come forward. Also, double check your right shoulder position. make sure that you don't start your downward move and start to push your right shoulder across your center, because that can cause you, to lose lag. It can cause you to steepen the golf club up, and then we have a mess of problems with being over the top, and we create a big slice or a big pull hook. All right, so those are the drills I want you guys to try out. So make sure that you're watching your spine angle. Make sure that you're watching your head position. Keep it in behind the golf ball, and then make sure you're trying to keep it in behind the ball as you're extending out through to the 3 o'clock position, and you'll be able to play a lot more consistent, a lot better golf. All right, a couple videos on the website I want you guys to check out. That's going to be losing the tush line. That's in the advanced downswing section. That's a great video to show you how to maintain your spine angle. You actually talk about how we actually increase a little bit of the tush line in the downward move, and it'll help you overcome a lot of those issues that you've been struggling with. Also, I want you to double check another great video on the website. It's called Roll of the Right Foot. It's going to help you understand what the right foot's doing in the downward move. You can see here Brooks has got his right heel up off the ground quite a bit. This roll of the right foot video is going to teach you how the right foot can act as more of a braking mechanism, and it's also going to give you kind of a little bit of a checkpoint for those of you golfers that have really struggled with the hips coming forward. All right, so those two videos, they're going to show up in the recommended videos to the right of the video player. Check those out. That's a great couple of videos that can help you overcome a lot of these issues. Also, if there's a video, if you've been struggling with your takeaways, seeing a lot of that lateral head movement, we actually have a video that's called head moving off the golf ball. I'm also going to put that in the recommended videos for you guys to check out as well. And understand that we really want to, in order to maintain consistency, we want to be able to rotate our shoulders around our axis, which is our spine. We want to maintain that spine angle, and we want to keep our head as quiet as possible for a lot of consistency and a lot of consistent power. All right, guys, so let's get out there and play some great golf. I look forward to working more with you guys in the future. Let's make it a great day.
Losing the tush line in the downswing is a really, really common problem that a lot of golfers struggle with, and they don't understand why, and they don't understand how to fix it. And really, it's a very simple fix. It takes practice to change it, just like everything else does, but it's very simple to understand what causes it. For 99% of the golfers out there, it involves spinning their hips. So let's look at what that looks like when I do it incorrectly and we lose that tush line. First of all, let's understand what the tush line is. If you imagine just dropping a straight line, as you can see in the background, the black piece of wood here that is representing a line drawn straight down from my hip or the back of my rear, as I go into my downswing, a lot of golfers move away from it because they push off that right side. That pushes the hip under and toward the target line. Notice now my hip, instead of being back here, is this way, and I stand up and I lose my spine angle. It tends to leave me coming too far from the inside, also very hard on the back. So how do we fix this? Well, the key is to do the exact opposite. Instead of rotating, which tries to get your body to create this straight line condition, that's why you lose all your angles and stand up out of it, because your body, when you start twisting it like this, tries to straighten up and it can't maintain those angles. What you need to feel is the squat move. So as we go to the top of the swing, I'm actually going to increase my angle, and my hips are actually going to move further back as I'm leveraging the ground, now pushing my feet into the ground, and as I pull my arms down to release, I have no problem keeping my tush line where I started at address.